Hey, my name is Aras Baskauskas. I am a winner of Survivor and a yoga practitioner for the last 9 years. I'm also heavy into meditation, and that's my main practice. The first time I played Survivor was in 2005 in Panama. And that first day of shooting, man, I was so uncomfortable. There were cameras everywhere. I was like, I want to look cool in front of the camera, and me just being relaxed doesn't look that cool, so maybe I'll tighten up and then it'll be cool. And that lasted for all of like a day and a half. And then fortunately, because Survivor is so raw and so real and you're so hungry, you forget about the camera. There's a camera there, but it really doesn't matter, because what's more important is getting food in your body, and what's more important is building a fire so you can have water to drink. So the nice thing, the one really nice thing about Survivor is you become very comfortable in front of the camera very quickly. Another really nice thing about being on Survivor is that you get to watch it back 5 months after you've shot it. We all have a story in our mind of what's happening in the world around us and how we fit into that story. And certainly it's inarguable that everyone's got a slightly different story, if not a hugely varied story. But what's really fascinating is to come home and then watch the story of 16 people or 20 people, depending on how many people are in each season, see that story be told through the eyes of the narrator, which is the editors of Survivor, and then to play that against your own experience. And oftentimes it's very frustrating, like, wait, that didn't happen like that. Or I thought I came off kind of smarmy there. Well, maybe you were smarmy. So it's in the context of my own yoga practice, my own meditation practice, it's like humble pie, but it's really valuable because you get to see how attached you are to the idea of yourself, especially the idea of yourself in other people's minds. Like at the end of the day, who gives an S-H-I, you fill that last letter in, what other people think of you? Or in my case, of me. Like, what does it matter what other people think of me? Well, it matters however much I let it matter. And that's what's really revealing about being on a reality TV show, is you get to see how much you care about what other people think about you. And so if you take it with that perspective, it can be really valuable because you get to see what it brings up, and then you're also susceptible to other people's comments, and in a world of social media and blogs and YouTube, everybody can leave a comment, and it's interesting the things that I react to and the things that I don't react to. Typically, I won't react to anything unless it strikes a chord. So recently somebody said, I think it was the host of the show said in an interview, he said, Aras looks disingenuous. And man, did that make me upset. But if I'm practicing my meditation practice, which I should be, the truth is it didn't make me upset. One, I made me upset. But two, if it struck a chord, it's probably because there's something there. There's some belief I have about myself that resonates with that. And that's the really cool thing about being on a reality show. As much as it sucks sometimes, is it forces you to be super responsible about where you get your validation from. And usually if you're on a reality show, it's because you seek validation. And if you're seeking it outside, once it airs, man, you're not going to get it. Or you might get it at one point, but it's fleeting because the next episode, you're going to get the exact opposite. So it really forces you to come to terms with your own, or at least forces me to come to terms with my own validation issues. And I think that's a really powerful thing. So I won Survivor 8 years ago. Why go back? A lot of people ask me, why in the world would you go back and do it again? But the first time I went on Survivor, I wasn't a fan of the show. I was recruited. But since being on the show, I've watched online every single episode. My fiance and I, we can't wait for Wednesday nights to watch Survivor. We'll go online, and it's usually up a few hours after it's on TV. So a fan of the show, and to get a call back to do it again, I thought, well, man, that'll be fun. I'll do it again. And not only that, I felt like I had a good chance at winning again. And it is an adventure. It's hard, but it's an adventure, and I couldn't turn it down. There's two trains of thought. There's one like, well, don't mess up your legacy. You have a perfect record. You're 1 for 1. But that seems kind of like a fear-based way to go. Like, whatever, who cares? Who cares about a legacy? First of all, it's 15 minutes. Those 15 minutes are long gone. I don't need to worry about what people remember about that because they don't remember anything. And secondarily, like, what a great chance to do it again. And I got to do it with my brother, which was incredible. Yeah, there was just no reason to say no to it. I mean, I guess there were reasons, I just didn't listen to them. And and my approach was a lot different this time around. I didn't really worry so much about gaining weight. The first time I went on Survivor, I thought, man, I'm gonna lose a lot of weight, so I better gain a lot of weight. So I gained 10 pounds before I went on. And I ended up losing 35 pounds over the course of that 39 days. This time around, I decided I was gonna start losing weight before I got out there, deal with the detoxifying aspect of essentially fasting in the comfort of my home rather than in the discomfort of an island, so that when I got to the island, I could hit the ground running and be more comfortable in my body than the majority of the people out there. So I ate really, really light, mostly just fruit and greens, mostly raw. And then about 10 days beforehand, I just went liquids. And that prepared me, I thought, a lot better for the experience on the island. And I really didn't have any withdrawals. I didn't have any hunger pains while I was out there. So yeah, I think the second approach was better. But that's also 8 years later. I have a lot more awareness of my body. I know what feels good and what doesn't. So that's probably why I was able to do that. The first time I played Survivor, we finished day 39, done shooting. What would be day 40, I got home at about 10 at night. So I had no real kind of runway or landing strip to adjust to society before I came back to Los Angeles. It was a trip. I wore a robe for like the first 2 weeks. That's it, a robe and board shorts, because I could take off my robe if it was hot, and if I got cold, I put on a robe, and it was simple. I didn't have to remember where anything was. And it was really, really easy. I couldn't understand why we had so many clothes. I looked in my closet and thought, why do we have so many clothes? This is so ridiculous. I would play with the faucet and just be like, oh my God, fresh drinkable water. I just have to turn the faucet, that's amazing. Or I couldn't pee inside, I had to go pee outside all the time. And my mattress, I was like, oh my God, a mattress. I am the luckiest man on planet Earth. I have a mattress. Or hot water, I can take a shower. This is unbelievable. It really is unbelievable how far we have come from survival as a society. And what else is really unbelievable is how not far we are from losing all that. I mean, we live in a fragile society. Things could go haywire really easily. We're so lucky that they don't, and we're so lucky that we have what we have. One of the most invaluable parts about being on Survivor is that you get to be grateful for what you do have. We all have so much. If you're watching this on a computer, you have a lot. You are so lucky. I'm lucky. I think the second time around, it was the same thing, the same exact experience. Oh my gosh, hot water, a hot shower, fresh water, food. You mean I can give somebody paper and they're gonna hand me food? This is amazing. It's ridiculous. Like, I live in LA. I could eat food from almost any country in the world, and I would only have to go in a 1 mile radius to find it. It's unbelievable. We're really lucky. It's ridiculous how blessed we all are. Survivor it's a unique experience. It's very hard to share with anyone who hasn't done Survivor what it's like. And so because of that, there's a fraternity and a sorority of Survivor contestants, past Survivor contestants, who kind of all bond together. And then within that, you have a bond with your castmates, the people you shared the experience with, that's uniquely your own. And even though you've been cast because you're so different and you have such divergent interests, there is something that will link you forever. And anytime I see a former castmate, anytime I see them, it is like a family reunion, a dysfunctional family reunion, but a family reunion nonetheless. You go through something traumatic with somebody, and they'll always have a place in your heart, I think. And it's just like that with Survivor contestants. So kind of the evolution of the relationship is you get home from the experience. Most people are somewhat bitter because they got voted out. Hopefully you're not, but a lot of people are. So there's a little bit of like a distancing, and then as it starts to air, everybody calls each other and connects again. Oh my God, can you believe they showed that? Can you believe they showed that? And then as time happens, you fall apart more and more and more. But when you see each other, it's great, and you know, you've shared something that nobody else can relate to, and it's pretty special. You know, in terms of like bitterness in the game, you sign up to play a game that involves blindsiding and backstabbing and conniving and manipulating, and it is so unfair to sign up for a game like that and then get mad at people when they do it to you. And then it happens to you, and it happened to me this season. I got blindsided, I got backstabbed. It's easy to want to be bitter, but there's no place for it. I mean, you signed up for it, and chances are if you got blindsided, you were probably planning to do the same to somebody else somewhere down the line, or already did in my case. So, you know, I think you call it a game, and you say, hey, this is the game we all agreed to play, no hard feelings, let's move on. So that's my take on it. I won $1 million. That's a pretty awesome experience. And it's hard to share what it's like to win $1 million. It's also hard to say what it's like to win $1 million for anybody else other than me at the age of 24. I think when you win $1 million will determine a lot on how you experience that $1 million. The year before I won $1 million, I earned $10,000. So by my math, that's 100-fold more than I had earned the previous year. And yeah, I mean, the first thing I thought when I won $1 million is, don't lose it. Uh-oh, this is a lot of money. And then the next thing that happened is I just got inundated with friends and family all wanting a piece of that $1 million. Business offers, business plans, requests for loans without business plans, going to dinner with friends and having nobody pull out their wallets when it was time to pay the bill. And for a while I was really depressed after I won. I didn't like the position I found myself in with my friends and my family. And you know, after taxes, it's not $1 million. You pay $400,000 in taxes. It's $600,000 at the end of the day. Yeah, for me, I chose to pay my father's mortgage, and I bought my brother a car, I bought myself a car, I bought my father a car. So after all that, you know, that money was whittled down pretty quickly to a lower six-figure number. And then I invested it and started a business. I started my hat company. But over the course of, it's been 8 years now, I would say 6 years after winning that money, all that prize money had all been accounted for and was no longer in my bank account. But yeah, it's easy to spend money. I've learned a lot of things. It's easy to spend money, especially when you have it. People are always happy to take your money. And at the end of the day, my conclusion on it is that rich or poor, it's always nice to have money, but it certainly doesn't make you happy. And you know, you give me my choice if I could have money in my bank account or not. I'd say give me the money in my bank account. But I think that the advantage I have in having won Survivor once before, and then having lost second, is I know that winning is not a huge shift in your life. And I know that because I've won. I've had $1 million. And it's definitely a change, but it doesn't bring any more happiness. Oftentimes it brings a lot more problems into your life. And there's a song by Puff Daddy called Mo Money, Mo Problems. There's a reason for that cliche. But at the end of the day, I think also winning $1 million brings up a lot in terms of your beliefs that you have about yourself, your upper personal barrier. And yeah, if I won $1 million today, I would I'd have a much different strategy with that money. First and foremost, I'd take $980,000 and I would put it away. Don't touch it for a year, and then pay your taxes. $20,000, take and go travel for 3 months. Go have a great vacation, travel, and make sure that you're doing what you love. You know, when I was 24, I didn't have a job when I got home. So that money kind of became the way I financed my life, and I financed my discovery of what it was I love, which I found out to be music and business and yoga and meditation, all those things. But now if I won, I wouldn't quit my job. I wouldn't stop doing what I do. I would just let that money make me more money. I think that's what the real rich people figured out a long time ago, is if you've got money, let it make you money.